Welcome back to episode 4 of season 1 of the STEM Heroes podcast. I'm your host, David Young. Today I'm excited to talk with Matt Ernst up in Cincinnati, Ohio. He is an educator up there. He runs a drone class for high school students to help them get their Part 107 license and even connect them with real-world opportunities, getting them involved, filming videos for local properties, trying to get them connected to some of the agricultural things that the school is doing. So really cool ways to actually implement some of the drone stuff they're learning at their school. He talks about the different ways they've gotten into it, how they got their funding, how they set everything up. So if you're interested in doing this at the high school level, Matt's got some valuable info for you on how to implement drones and pursue STEM in the classroom. And like always, if you want the world's softest shirt, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts for the STEM Heroes podcast. Screenshot it, send it to me, david@dronelaunchacademy.com. We will get you out a free, super soft t-shirt just for taking the time to spread the word, good or bad, about the podcast. All right, with that said, let's get into it with Matt. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the STEM Heroes podcast. Today I have Matt Ernst of Aiken New Tech High School. Thanks for being on the podcast with me, Matt.
Thanks for having me, David.
So on this podcast, we like to get stories about students in STEM, cool things that it's doing for their careers, opportunities, or just getting getting their juices flowing for being interested in learning. Why don't you give us a little background about yourself and what you do and maybe why you're here talking to it?
I've been in education for about 24 years. Part of that was tech support in the classroom, about 12 years of that 24. And when I started working for Cincinnati Public Schools, I started out with tech support, did that for the first 4 years with CPS, and then started to move into the classroom. All during that time, I was doing tech club and now drone club at another school. When I came here finally a couple years ago to Aiken, we kind of moved into tech club and wanted to cover everything about tech. We try to cover everything in tech club. We do a little bit of 3D printing. We're flying drones, doing some introductory coding, and they're learning how to code drones. I have a great partner who's gotten us some grant money, getting us the equipment that we need. So we try to touch on everything in tech, let alone STEM. During this day, I'm teaching a drone class. I'm teaching AP computer science principles. I'm teaching entrepreneurship with my business classes. So when I get to tech club, that's what I'm licensed in with career tech and all the IT courses. I'm really focused with drones and this drone class because that's where I started with the after school clubs was drone club and really focused that I saw that, hey, this was going to be something down the road that we could bring into the high school classroom. And that's the way I present it to the students now is just you get your 107 along with your driver's license, and you can earn and make money after high school without getting into college debt and actually earn a very nice income. Gosh, have fun flying drones.
Yeah,
I
especially
mean,
pair it with some of the entrepreneurship stuff you're talking about.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, students don't have an idea of what kind of business they want to do. Okay, well, you're doing drones. Right. You're going to do your own drone business, and they have no idea. So I kind of guide them along what they need to do for a drone business.
Very cool. Your drone class, is that like a during the day, a
Yes.
semester or like a class period that people do
So the
just
way
during?
we were able to set it up, I actually applied through the state of Ohio Education Department to get the credential for graduation points. So students can earn so many credentials, can earn up to 12 points, take an alternative pathway for graduation. By getting their 107 license, they earn 6 of the 12 points that they need for graduation.
Wow. Does that take the place of some other graduation requirements? I guess what does that do for them?
Correct. Yeah. So they can take an alternative pathway to graduation. You know, if they're not getting the right test scores, they still have to get the right amount of credits that they need from all their courses and their core curriculum. I can go out and pick a pathway and get my drone license and get a few more other classes and a few more other credentials, and I can graduate and start working.
Very cool. That's awesome.
We keep track of how many jobs and how many industries now that drones can do. We're up to 206 jobs across 16 different industries. So if you're not quite sure what you want to do, that's okay. You have quite a selection to choose from. That doesn't even include the military aspects of what drones are doing out there. And that's what a lot of the students see out there is, you know, they flip on the news in the evening and they see what's going on across the world with drones and the military uses of drones. But just like, okay, let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about all the good that's going on with drones and where this industry is going with air taxis and what's going on with the state of Ohio. We're just busting out with technology here in the state of Ohio between chip manufacturing and air taxis coming to the state and the battery production that's going on. So lots of jobs coming to the state of Ohio.
Really cool. So how long have you been teaching the drone class as a part of just like your regular,
This was my first year.
Oh, okay.
So I was able to get certified just because the state of Ohio, the education department has a little loophole where they can do a seniors only class and we don't have to worry about teacher licensing
Okay.
because they're not quite sure about teaching licensing, as far as the other grades go. But if we offer it to seniors only, I can just use my 107 license and say, I'm credentialed, I'm licensed, I'm good to go.
What other type of credential or license would they be looking for to teach that class for other students? I mean, like, what else is there?
The school would have to have a STEM certification, STEM
Oh, okay.
designation.
I see.
I've done all my homework on this. And as far as any other teacher licensing, I am not sure. I'm going to another PD over this summer to find out more on that so that we can open up the doors, so to speak, and make it available to other classes,
Yeah.
more
Cool.
grades in high schools.
So right now you just teach it to seniors. That's kind of your class. How many seniors were in it for your first year?
This year I had 12.
Okay.
By the time we got down to test time, I was down to 10 students. I had 2 pass this year, so
Cool.
I'll take it.
Nice.
And
Now, with that, were you teaching them all the stuff in class yourself about all
yes,
the studying for
yeah,
107?
I
And was that the bulk of the class information, or was there more stuff you were doing in with that?
yeah, that was pretty much the bulk of it is here's what you need to study. Here's what I remember what was on the 107, kind of scattering around some of my sources that I had and using it in class with the students.
In this class, are students are they able to fly drones at all, or is it mostly just theory and knowledge stuff?
Okay, so the way I started was okay. So we studied and we went over things Monday through Thursdays in class. On Fridays, we kind of took it as a chill day, and we went outside, weather permitting, and gave them some flight time, which kind of helped me introduce, like pilots logbook and
Mhm.
how we keep track of how many light hours we've had. And so everybody got credit for the 45 minutes that we went outside and got to learn how to fly a drone. The little simple Tello drones. We used iPads to fly those the school provided. I've got a DJI Phantom 4 that we use for our bigger projects.
Nice.
So we got
That's very cool.
to fly that after a few sessions of Fridays. So we've hooked up with a few projects that we did as well. We have a retirement village, like right down the street from the high school. Hooked up with the sales coordinator there, the village, and they wanted to redo their YouTube videos for the retirement home.
Cool.
So we were there probably about on 3 different occasions, shooting video, doing a fly-in right through the front door, and just a virtual tour of the place. We also
Nice.
did some outdoor video of the whole grounds. The place is years old and just it's one of the College Hill landmarks in Cincinnati. So
That's a pretty neat project, and then
yeah,
actually students actually getting to do some real life type
we
jobs.
did because I actually, I appointed a project manager and everybody had a particular job in the class. If you were part of the editing team, the flight team, the writers for the project, it's just like, hey, we're not going to show up at their front door one day and just say, hey, we're here to shoot drone video. We got to walk in, know what we're doing and what shots we want to take.
Yeah, that's smart, and it's some of that stuff, especially if you're a high school student, if you've never done it before, you might not realize that those extra steps are necessary until you actually are forced to actually go and do it in practice, you know what I mean? Um,
Exactly. And then we have a fully functioning farm here at the high school, getting all kinds of accolades, but we're kind of working with him also, trying to find out them expanding the farm. They're doing more with the farm. They're raising animals, chickens. We have 4 goats and 4 alpacas now. We have quite a big barn down there. So we're just kind of, doing that cross-curricular thing with him and the whole agricultural pathway, which drones are a part of in the
yeah,
high school curriculum. I'm trying to get the district on board and coming over and being a part of the agricultural pathway. So all they'd have to do is take a few agricultural courses, get the points for those, along with my drone license, and they could be graduated agricultural certified students.
how big is the farm over there, like, acre-wise?
Probably just the size of a football field,
Okay,
basically.
pretty good size.
And
Thought that could be, one of the the uses for a lot we see in agriculture is a lot of like mapping, photogrammetry. I'm
Yes.
assuming you guys don't have like multispectral sensors or anything, but if you did, that'd be pretty cool to test that
Yeah,
out.
I'm working on that. I just purchased and I just got in a new Parrot drone, an Ernst Parrot drone, thermal
Nice.
imaging camera on it. I'm pretty stoked about trying to fly that thing.
Cool.
I haven't had much time to play with it. I mentioned earlier my grant partner, she split the cost with the school district and we bought that. I can't wait to use it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So with the students in the class, I mean, do you have any good stories about what it was like for them being in a drone class? Did you notice any difference from your other classes as far as was it harder? Was it easier? Did they like it better? Did it go well? How was it from the student's perspective?
I don't know. I didn't really get much feedback from them. Tell the ones that were really interested. I really stressed to them that, getting that 107 license is what's most important. Not to worry about the grade in this class, but to get the certification, to pass the exam, to pass the test is what's most important here because it's something that you're going to be able to use past high school. The grade, okay, we'll be done with that on Thursday when you graduate. No, this is something past graduation. We're going to be able to keep with you.
Yeah.
So I must have stressed that with teenagers, you got to keep talking about it, keep talking about it. I'm hoping that my passion came across to them.
Once you have it, it's like you don't lose it. You just got to, keep it renewed with like a little online FAA course. So it's a great
Right.
asset to have.
I tried to tell them, it's just like, you're going to see trick questions on the FAA. And it's just like everything we talk about, you're going to have to know what those initials stand for. Remember, we're talking about a branch of the government. Education, everything's an acronym.
I know that can get a little tricky, especially if you're unfamiliar with aviation and haven't seen certain pieces of it before. How did the drone flying part go? Did you feel like they caught on to that?
I mean, most of them they're all into the gaming anyway. So it's just like no problem running a controller, even on the iPads using the little Tello drones. Once you downloaded the Tello app, your controller pops up right there on the screen. So no problem. Just make sure you keep your thumbs on the screen so that you have control of your sticks. They picked up pretty well.
Anybody crash any drones or no?
They asked that, and it's just like, you know what? You're not a good pilot unless you do crash or drown. Whether you survive or not, whether your drone survives.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
'cause I've done that with the Phantom a couple times with some new student pilots, and we survive. We break a blade, then you just replace it. It's okay.
Yeah, that's the least of your worries.
I had my Phantom 4 and I was out doing a job and got it stuck up in a tree. I mean, it was way up there. And I'm trying to shoot some pictures of a friend's house. And man, it's just like, I know I can get to that. And, after finding it in the right tree. So I ran home and I got my tree trimmer.
It was like a
That
pole
thing
saw or
extended out about 20 feet. And ran home, come back, got out the tree, yanked that thing right out, got it right onto the hook on saw
nice.
blade.
Well, that's good.
Rescued it from the tree. It was stuck up in the tree. So
That's great. Yeah, I've definitely lost a few drones to trees, and they
yeah,
get tangled up
and
pretty.
the students always ask me, it's just, well, how much does this drone cost? I says, well, the whole package, get this nice old drone here, it's $2,000,
Yeah.
How much are those little Tello drones, So, well, you can get those off Amazon, about $130, It's just like, they're very inquisitive as
Good.
far as the cost goes. And I tell them that it's like, you could actually do this job, get your own drone business up and running, $10,000, investing in a nice drone,
Yeah. Maybe
everything
not
else
even.
that you need to get a business running. I don't know of any other business that you can start up for $10,000.
No, it's great. We've seen tons of people with good success with it. Just like anything, you got to work at it and to be able to be successful with it. But for a high school student who just maybe wants some part-time income, they can just do it. At 16, you can get it, So
Yeah. We went to a drone conference this year. It was Dronapalooza, they called it.
that was the drone conference.
That was the drone conference.
Okay.
They were showing off some of the delivery drones that were being tested here in the Southwest Ohio area. It was the one being used for the Kroger and the drone delivery services at the Kroger supermarket. I got to talk to some of the professionals in the drone industry. Good. It was great.
You had mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that you had someone help you get some grants. Were those through the state of Ohio or there's a national thing? What was that like?
So I've been partnered up with Mary Sluter. She runs Partnerships and Innovation in Education. That's the name of her nonprofit. She gets me all the grants. She does all the writing of the grants. It's phenomenal what she's put together for me. Since day one, we've been partnered together for those 9 years that I've been with
Cool.
the school district, and helped me start up with the drone club, another high school, and various other things that we've done and partnered up together. She helped me get some of these other drones and some of the other tech equipment that we've done, like the podcasting equipment, part of the
Do you know?
21st Century Grant. So
Okay,
it's been awesome. So
that's great.
yeah,
Do you know where she, like, if people who are listening are like, oh man, I want to check out these grants, like what
yeah.
are some common ones that they should look at?
Just go to her website is piemedia.org is her
Okay.
website. Some of the things that she's working on. She's partnered up with the Drive Ohio initiative. They are a part of the Ohio Department of Transportation in the state of Ohio. They've been looking at all the air mobility and the smart highways, the electrical vehicles and the electrical charging stations, all part of that, and putting that all together with the Ohio Department of Transportation across the whole state of Ohio. Mary has basically come up with a whole curriculum now to present that to K through 12 schools to be part of their Smart and Mobility Ambassadors program. We actually kind of piloted that for her. We went to a couple of our feeder elementary schools, showed elementary students how to use robots and drones. This is what's coming down for you guys, even at as young as second graders, so 8, 9 years old. This is what's coming for you guys down the road. And I had the students teach the younger one about
Oh, that's
that.
cool. Like your
So
seniors.
yeah, I was just the
Yeah.
van driver. Let's them over there and said, "Have at it, guys. This is what we're
Right.
doing."
That's cool. You were saying earlier, a lot of those kids, they play games and they kind of get it. I feel like with electronics, little kids are around them a lot. And so I'm
Yeah.
surprised. I got 5 kids aged 10 to 9 months old. So they're on the younger end, but they obviously mess around with drones. And I got some other drone the other day that you can do some programming with, kind of like a Tello, but it's a little different. It's called like a RoboLink drone, code drones. I'm not sure if you've seen those. They were having fun doing little challenges. You can do like the block coding and stuff, and they're having it fly around and do different things. And they're eating it up. So they're 7, 8, 10. And after a few tries, they can pick it up pretty good.
With the set of robots, we can either work with them manually just by drawing different markers. So the robot respond to the different colored markers on your paper, or you can just set it on your touch screen and upload your code and code the robot for what you want it to do.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's
There's
going to be a lot.
so much
Yeah.
going on.
Like you said, it's a lot of what's in the future, like knowing how to program the machines who are going to do the work.
That future's not far off either.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
We're talking drone taxis in the state of Ohio here probably in the next 2 to 3 years.
I'm going to let somebody else be the test driver on getting in that one first. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is. So Joby Aviation coming to Dayton, Ohio. They're going to be putting up a manufacturer facility there. They're already building, I don't know how many prototypes they have already done out there, testing them in California. I know they put a test in New York City. So they're trying to pilot them and prototype them in New York City, taking off from office buildings and take passengers to the airport. So I don't know if you've heard much of this, but a lot of the airlines are backing these air taxi companies. I think
Yeah.
there's 4 already here in the US. It's just like, okay, we get more passengers to the airport to
Right.
get on our airlines. We'll back your air taxi company.
Because you're not going to take an air taxi from Cincinnati to Tampa, Florida. You know what I mean? So
No,
you're going to take it from where you're standing to the airport and then get on a plane and go. It's a pretty cool, which to be honest, would be nice. So I live in a town called Lakeland, Florida. It's like, we're like 45 minutes from the Tampa airport and like an hour and change from the Orlando airport. So
Yeah.
it is kind of, and if there's any traffic, it gets way
right.
worse and big hassle. I could jump in a air taxi from somewhere around Lakeland, go 15 minutes to Tampa or 20 minutes to Orlando or whatever. It would make it way easier.
But the nice thing is you could jump in an air taxi and get across the state of Ohio. If I needed to go to Cleveland, if I needed to go to Columbus, go to the state capital, I could jump in an air taxi. It's a 2-hour drive, 100 miles away.
Right. You would never fly that typically, like an
No.
airline. Yeah.
But I could jump in an air taxi and be there in less than an hour.
It's really, really cool. Very cool technology that's coming out. So where do you see sort of your program? This is your first year that you've had during the school day class. Where do you see it going from here? Other classes or expanding the class that you have? What do you think it's going to look like for the future?
I've already done my recruiting for next year, just talking to some of the underclassmen, for next year. I'm hoping to have more students. So, of course, more students get some more licensing done. That's kind of like the short-term goal, is just getting more students their 107 licenses. Once that happens and we get to the whole program, I would love to try to eventually place those students that get their license into either some kind of internship or actually an actual job post high school. I
Yeah.
tried to do that with one of my 2 students this year. I did get his resume out. We worked on his resume once we got our license done. It was so funny, is about 2 weekends ago, I get this email like out of the blue. I never check my school email over the weekends, right? Got this one over the weekend, pulled it up on my phone, checked it, it's like, surprise, surprise. And there's a picture of his license. That came.
Nice. Oh, that's really
But
cool.
yeah, but that's where I plan to take the program, is try to do more projects, and then hopefully, what can we do to pay you for your time and your efforts for this project, and try to turn that donation for our work that we've did into scholarships. If they want to pursue something, try to turn that into scholarships for my student. I still want to, I'll get my drone license, but I still want to go on to college. Okay. Then I
Yeah.
got the scholarship money to help you do that.
That'd be really, really cool.
They're doing that now with the agriculture program. They're doing a coffee cart every morning in the school, and they're taking those proceeds from the coffee cart, turning that into scholarship money in the agriculture program. I want to try to do that with my drone class as well.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Now, I had a question on the Part 107, the commercial license. In Ohio, does the school get funding for when students pass it? I know like in Alabama or other states where like, if the students pass it or if they go to take
Yes.
it, the state will reimburse for that.
Correct. Yeah. The whole trying to build the workforce. The lieutenant governor calls it the tech cred program. The
Okay.
school does get a portion of that exam feedback. Yes.
Nice. That's great. So it probably makes it a little easier to get to get students to have it. Before we go, is there any advice that you might give to other teachers or school administrators who are thinking about possibly getting a drone program going at their school? Different lessons learned or warnings or advice?
Yeah, you got to have support of your administration. When I first started this, I was still in the tech department at the district, and my chief technology officer had the vision enough to say, "Yeah, I'll buy you a drone." So it's nice to have that support from administration.
Okay. Get some buy-in from your administration. What's one way that people could do that other than just asking them for it and saying, hey, can I do this?
Community partner, like I have with Mayor P.
True.
I
Yeah.
mean, getting those community partners. If you can't find, a nonprofit to get you the grants, then maybe you can find a community partner like my agricultural program has done here. He's probably got 4 or 5 restaurants and community groups that have stepped up and been
Cool.
very supportive of their program. If you could find that within the drone industry, all the better.
Awesome. Well, very cool. Matt, I appreciate your time today and talking to us. Tell us about the kind of stuff you're doing at your school. Fun to hear about. And thanks for sharing your lessons. Appreciate it. If someone wanted to ask you some questions or get in touch with you, like what would be a good way to find you if you want to make yourself?
Probably the best way to find me is on LinkedIn. I try to keep that up to date with projects and conferences and certifications that I've been doing.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate it. And thanks for coming on. We'll catch you later.
All right. Thanks, David. Thanks for having me.